Hey everyone, it's Baka here. Welcome to episode number 3 of the Wide World of Geek. This week we're going to be looking at 4 different topics throughout the world of geekdom, 4 news items. Some are about a week old, some are just a day old, and one, well, if you don't know about this one, probably not really a geek. And that one is the San Diego Comic-Con. Comic-Con happens every year around this time. This year it is this Thursday through Sunday, July 12th through the 15th, in sunny San Diego, California. I'm in hot, sunny, humid Indiana. One of these years I would love to get a ticket to go to San Diego Comic-Con. It always falls right around my birthday. This year, my birthday is smack dab in the center of it. I've never gotten to go to what is known as the Mecca of geekdom. I've been a comic book fanboy all my life, and this would be epic. For those who might not know or might not be fully aware, Comic-Con is a celebration of all things geek. Comic books, movies, anime, video games, literature, cosplay. You know, if it's geeky, it's going to be there. This is also the event where the biggest news events in comic books happen. Now, they like to trickle them out over the major comic cons throughout the year, but they hold the majority of them for San Diego, which makes it usually a pretty important con. Don't know exactly what's going to be announced this year. Both DC and Marvel have kind of just overdid themselves with all of the events and big ideas happening. Now, there is one thing that Marvel's going to be talking about that is going to be the talk of Comic-Con, and that is their big, I guess you could call it an event, that happens after Avengers vs. X-Men. They're calling it, and I really, really hope this is just a working title, they're calling it Marvel Now. Yeah, Marvel Now, with an exclamation point. They have said this many times since announcing this, that it is not a reboot. DC's New 52. When they were talking about it, they said it wasn't a reboot. It was a reboot. Everything's different. Everything's changed. It doesn't matter what happened before in DC. Just call it spade a spade. Marvel has denied it being a reboot or a relaunch, just a reworking. Now, they have done things like cancel long-running titles, like Uncanny X-Men. Yeah, no more Uncanny X-Men. There's now the Uncanny Avengers and the all-new X-Men. Not all the titles in Marvel are being affected by this, and it's not all happening at once. It's being trickled out over 5 months. There are going to be changes in teams. The Uncanny Avengers is being led by Havoc of the X-Men. For those of you who don't know, Havoc is one of the coolest mutants in Marvel Comics. He is Cyclops' underappreciated younger brother. He appeared in X-Men First Class. He's finally getting the push that I feel he deserves. He's leading the team, and this is a team that has Captain America and Thor on it. So it's pretty big for him. A lot of the things that are happening over in the X-Men books, we're not really sure. They have somehow not spoiled the ending of Avengers vs. X-Men by announcing this new setup of books. Obviously, we know from some of the images that have been launched that some people are alive, not dead. So maybe no one actually dies in Avengers vs. X-Men. Maybe it goes back to the status quo. Maybe it goes back to Scott Summers being a complete and total jerk. He's sure proving it that he is that way right now. Item number 3. How do I want to say this? There's been some news, and this was released last night actually, regarding the new Wolverine movie, aptly titled The Wolverine. It will be once again starring Hugh Jackman, and I would expect to see maybe a couple faces from X-Men Origins Wolverine, but the exciting part about this is the story they're telling. They're telling the story of Wolverine in Japan, his relationship with Mariko, his relationship with Lord Shinjin and the Silver Samurai. So let's just be clear. Not much else has been released. They released some of the new actors that are going to be in this, a lot of Japanese actors. But it's Wolverine versus ninjas. Ninjas and Wolverine. I've got no complaints. This is one of my favorite stories of Wolverine. It was back when Wolverine was just absolutely tough as nails, and this showed a more sophisticated, educated side to him that all just goes to hell. So it should be really interesting to see how this plays out on the big screen. The fourth and final piece of news, and this was released yesterday, was that there is an Assassin's Creed movie in the works. Assassin's Creed, for those of you who may not know, is a very successful video game franchise where you play a person in the present day who through technology is basically has his essence sent back in time to one of his ancestors who happens to be an excellent assassin. And so you go around having to basically relive this person's life and execute people. And it's got this weird sci-fi plus historical fantasy action going on. The first game you're traveling basically around, I think it's Italy. Don't quote me on that though. The newest game coming out is during the Revolutionary War. So we can bounce around to different historical periods and use figures from history and events from history and then add this little bit of fantasy into it. The games involve a lot of free running, a lot of climbing, jumping, sneaking, things like that. But the big part of the news is not that they're making a movie out of this. That's been not so newsworthy for a while. The big thing is who they have playing the lead role. Michael Fassbender. Michael Fassbender played Magneto in X-Men First Class. He was in Prometheus as the cunning and creepy android named David, I think. I try not to remember Prometheus that much. He was the one bright spot of that movie, in my opinion. He plays things so cool, so calm, so cunningly that he could be a perfect assassin. Now, whether or not they have him do a lot of this free running or do the CGI to make it look like he does, I don't think that matters. I'm excited for this. I've got Assassin's Creed. I think it's the first one for Xbox 360. It's not my favorite game, but it's got a lot of interesting points. So, Comic-Con this weekend. Marvel Now. We'll see. Wolverine versus ninjas. And Michael Fassbender as an assassin. Those are your 4 points of Mega Geek News this week. I will see you next week. And this is Baka signing off.